Hey there.
We're
We're
back.
back.
Alice,
And-
Walters.
Yes. Today she is going to tell you everything about how to apply to the working holiday visa for Canada while I gonna work on Judy.
All right, so let's get straight into it. Who's it for? How does it work? What to do when you're already in Canada? And our personal story on why did we choose to go on this adventure. First things first, what is a working holiday visa? It's an international mobility program that allows young adults to live in several different countries on a temporary residency/work visa. That means you're allowed to live in a country for a longer period compared to regular tourists. You can legally work there, but here's the best part, you don't have to. You don't have to stress about finding a job before you come here like you would if you were to apply for a regular work visa. And trust us, this gives you so much more flexibility and makes the whole immigration process so much simpler. Because as the program states, it's temporary, so the countries don't want to be bothered with any unnecessary paperwork. Sorry, phone died, so we are continuing from our room. The list of the countries and the length of your stay depends on your nationality in the country you come from, but it's typically 1 to 2 years, and the most common destinations for working holiday visas are Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, where we are currently. A little something to remember, we both come from Latvia, so what we're sharing here reflects the experience of 2 Latvian citizens. Don't worry though, most of the information is the same, and we'll put a link down in the description to Canadian Immigration Services so you can check the specific requirements for your country. Now let's talk about the application process. In Canada, working holiday visas are a part of the IEC or International Experience Canada program. All the important information as well as the application process itself happens through IRCC website that we have put in the description below, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us in the comments. You can apply if you are 18 to 35 years old and your country has this agreement with Canada. Each country has a select number of visas they issue every year. For example, Latvia has only 40 spots available every year. And it's a lottery. So here's how it goes. First, you have to create an online profile to enter the pool of people who want to apply. Then you cross your fingers and hope you receive an invitation to apply. These are selected randomly, and the only thing you can do to improve your chances to get the invitation is to check the IRCC website for when the pools open for your country each year. Keep in mind though, if you want to travel with a partner, each of you have to apply separately, so you both have to win this lottery. If you're lucky enough to get the invitation to apply, congrats! You're with one foot already in Canada. Or so we thought. No, but honestly, if you follow the instructions on the website and provide all the necessary documentation like criminal checks, work employment history of the last 10 years, you'll be just fine. We had a bit of a longer process with all of this because at the time of applying, we were living abroad in Austria, so we put down our Austrian address as the mailing address in case they needed to send us something through mail. But as it turned out, you need to provide the residential or mailing address in your home country to be eligible to actually get this visa. So that's where we messed up a little bit. Both of our visas got refused the first time around and without any option to appeal the decision. So we were pretty mad and disappointed for a while because what are the odds? What are the chances that we could both win in this lottery again? Like, we're not that lucky. But I guess it was meant to be, because after a while we applied again and we got the invitations again, and well, now we are here, so the rest is history. A few more things. Depending on your nationality and whether you have previously been to Canada, you might need to additionally provide your biometric data like fingerprints and stuff like that, and do a medical check with a specifically certified doctor that is not available everywhere. So be prepared that this could be pretty costly, not only because it just costs money, but also because you might have to travel to another country to make an appointment with these doctors. Also check the deadlines on the IRCC website, because you're only going to have a few weeks to get all these documents sorted, and if this date expires, you have to apply again and hope again and go through all this process again. But if all goes well, and in most cases it does, in approximately 7 to 12 weeks, you should be receiving your letter of introduction, aka POE letter or point of entry letter, which means you can start getting ready for your Canadian adventure. Yay! Okay, so your bags are all packed and you're ready to go. But how does it work exactly? First of all, your point of entry letter is valid for a year, which means you will have 365 days to enter Canada. Secondly, POE letter is not your visa. You'll receive your actual visa only once you arrive here. So there's always a teeny tiny chance that an immigration officer might deny it. Also, yes, I am wearing a different outfit because everything went wrong last week and I'm just ready to wrap this up. All right, let's get back to it. So to avoid your visa to be refused, you need to do your homework. Be prepared. Print out all the documents that are needed for the arrival, like your POE letter, like health insurance for the whole period of your stay, as well as proof of funds or a return ticket back home. And I would also suggest you add all the additional documents that you were submitting when you applied for the visa. We have joined a few Facebook groups dedicated to all things IEC and have heard that a lot of people have a bit of a tricky or not as pleasant experience at the immigration office, but I just want to reassure you, don't be afraid of it. It's not that bad. The only thing you need to do is make sure that the immigration officers know that you are here on a temporary work visa. If they ask you what's the purpose of your stay, what's your plan, don't be all dreamy like, we'll see how it goes, I just want to go with the flow. No, be more direct. Tell to learn about this country, travel around for a year or 2 years depending on your visa, and that you might work some seasonal jobs, and in most cases that should be more than enough for them. How was our arrival experience? Well, we arrived in Vancouver International Airport on a calm Saturday night. After landing and picking up our checked-in luggage, we went to the immigration desk. There were maybe 3 people in front of us. We were greeted by a very friendly immigration officer. He took our documents that we had neatly prepared in folders, didn't ask a single question, and literally 10 minutes later we already had our work permits and were good to go. What did we do after that? And how did our first days in Canada went? Well, one thing we want to clarify is that I know people might think, so you're traveling the world, you're living your best life, and it's all dreamy and adventures and travel. And I just have to say, going on a holiday is a completely different story than moving to a different country. The amount of paperwork that we have to go through and all the bureaucracy, getting phone plans, getting social insurance numbers, getting all different sorts of things sorted out in a different country can be a lot. So let us unpack 3 of the most important things you should do on your first days in Canada. Number 1, you need to get a social insurance number, also known as SIN. It is relatively easy. You just need to go to a Service Canada office, either by making an appointment beforehand or, as we did, just as a walk-in. An important thing to remember is bring your work permit everywhere. In a lot of places, especially if it's a governmental institution or something like that, you often need to have 2 types of identification, one being your passport and the other one could be your work permit. As for the address that you need to put down, I think Airbnb might work as well. Our recommendation would be to try to find a workaway or a house-sitting host which would allow you to use their address for these purposes. But more on workaways and similar opportunities another time. Second thing, get a phone plan. Or don't. They are really expensive over here, especially if you compare it to Europe, and they're not that reliable. We chose to go with Virgin Mobile, but I don't think it really matters because from what I've heard, as soon as you get to a bit more rural places, you will have troubles with coverage anyways, and we have already experienced it within the Vancouver area. The third thing, open up a bank account. Choose a bank and make an appointment in your local branch. I've heard a lot of people going with CIBC Bank. We went with Scotiabank as it was suggested by our buddy. They also had a newcomers deal where you don't have to pay any account maintenance fees for the first 12 months, which is perfect in our case on our visas. All right, I think those were the most important things. If you're still here and would be interested in more practical tips and insights on our adventures and life in Canada, make sure to subscribe to our channel and we would love to have you here. And to wrap all of this up, here's a quick explanation on why we chose to leave everything back home and move across the ocean. Short answer, because we're just not ready to settle down yet. In 2016, we went on our first working holiday to New Zealand, and we've been wanting to go on a similar adventure ever since. Also, for the past 2.5 years, we've been living in Austria and just fell in love with mountains. It has been Walter's dream to come to Canada, and I don't need much convincing to go on big adventures like this, so it was kind of meant to be. All right, let's stop here for now. Lastly, we just want to hear from you. What should our next video be about? Our first impressions of life in Canada, buying a van and the process of exchanging a driver's license here, or what is a workaway and what's our first experience doing it? Let us know in the comments. See ya!